are you having fun yet? Today would not have been possible without the collaboration of the city family and the community activists and the community organizations. So I know I won't be able to call everyone. There's like 2 pages of all these individuals who helped us put this day together. But first, I would like to introduce to you or call up here the Board of Supervisors. Yay! We have Supervisor Eric Marr, Supervisor Scott Weiner. Come on up. Supervisor David Campos. Supervisor Norman Yee. We have our treasurer, Jose Cisneros. Where's the treasurer Cisneros? We have Jeff Adachi. Woo-hoo! Come on. They're our city officials. They make things happen. The police chief, Greg Sir. Are you here yet? We have Wendy Steele with the Adult Probation Department. And I'm sure I have forgotten somebody else, and we'll come back and introduce them to you. But I want a big round of applause for our community leaders, our community activists. Hello, they're in the back. So thank you to all of you for making this day together. Today we are rising for justice, and we still have a lot of things going on for you. Thank you. Woo!
I don't hear you. I'm sorry. I don't hear you. Are we there yet? We have to be really loud and stop violence. At this time, I'd like to welcome Susan Celia Swan. She's the Executive Director of V-Day. You know Vagina Monologues, right? Well, she's related to all that. The global movement to end violence against women and girls. The woman who runs the world of V-Day.
Thank you, Fabiola. I just want to take a moment to say how amazing it is to have Fabiola emceeing for us today. Fabiola, along with an amazing group of community activists, have sat and discussed and debated and dreamed about today, about creating a space where together we could come and rise for justice. Fabiola, having your voice and your love guide us through this program is a treat, and I want to thank you on behalf of all of us. Last year, we rose and danced to demand an end to violence against women and girls. Since that day, we have escalated our efforts, calling on women and men everywhere to rise, release, and dance and demand justice. 1 Billion Rising for Justice is a global call to women survivors of violence and those who love them to gather at places where they are entitled to justice. Courthouses, police stations, government offices, school administration buildings, workplaces, sites of environmental injustice, embassies, places of worship, homes, or simple public gathering spaces where women deserve to feel safe but often do not. Imagine 1 billion women releasing their stories, dancing and speaking out at the places where they need justice, where they need an end to violence against women and girls. Today, in 200 countries around the world, women and the women and men who love them rose and demanded justice. Together with us here, 1 Billion Rising for Justice is a movement led by local activists, activists addressing the themes through art, indomitable presence like yours here today, direct demands, and global solidarity. Activists across the world have been rising non-stop for the last 40 hours since the day hit the international dateline. We have been up since then, we know. Our team has been up as activists in places across the world, in San Francisco, Marin, Berkeley, Gujarat, Port-au-Prince, Lima, Dallas, London, Rome, Playa del Carmen, have live streamed, protested, and we have danced. So much activity has been generated that we trended on Twitter in South Africa, the UK, and we trended on Facebook. Now that's 1 billion people. Today we rise to break the silence and release our stories through politics, through outrage, through art. We demand that violence will end and that we will work together to explore and dream about what justice looks like for each of us. The voices you heard today, Beverly, Sylvia, and Christina, have spoken to you with a true vision for justice and a true voice and experience that we all must hear. And I know you all, I see this crowd, you all hear it. We have had activists across the world, rickshaw drivers in India today, soccer players in Peru, young teens in New York City with homeless women coming together talking about issues like economic injustice, environmental injustice, histories of racism and colonialism and poverty, how these connect together with the story of ending violence against women and girls. Rural women in South Africa have rose up and talked about abuse due to culture and traditional laws. V-men in Pakistan are rising to ensure men and boys realize and understand the cost of masculinity and patriarchy for themselves. We have been honored to work with activists across the Bay Area. San Francisco, you are truly rising today with your brothers and sisters in Marin, in Berkeley, in Oakland, Palo Alto. All the Bay Area is rising. We have been so honored to work with the mayor of San Francisco and his incredible team. And now I want to introduce my sister and V-Day board member, Emily Scott Patrick, to stand with me as we of V-Day and 1 Billion Rising thank all of the incredible people who came together, the over 60 community groups who came together and talked and dreamed and discussed what this day could mean and where it will lead as the discussion moves into the future. We want to thank Mayor Ed Lee and his incredible team, Diana Oliva Aroche, and all of the amazing activists and people in his office. And Diana, I am so sorry, Diana Oliva Aroche. DA George Gascon, who it was in Emily Scott Patrick's living room that the idea of this event was dreamed up when Emily and DA Gascon came together. Rebecca Prozan in the DA's office, Stephanie Ong-Stillman and his incredible team. I want to thank the Department and the Commission on the Status of Women, Emily Marasse, whose tireless leadership has brought us here today with a community of activists who are unparalleled, and a staff who has just shown up, plastered posters, and worked with our team. I want to thank the Filipino Women's Network and Marilee Mondahar, who are here today, helping everyone get their voice and hold up their signs so we can show what justice looks like. I want to thank Emily and our V-Day team, Noelle Colome, our production executive, Nanette Murphy, without whom we could not have done this event. They've come together. Emily and our board have been watching and dancing and dreaming as this has happened across the world. I spoke with part of our team who are in New York tonight who are watching us now as they prepare for New York to rise this evening. And again, as I said, we're here in San Francisco, and I am just honored, and it is my pleasure to introduce to you Mayor Ed Lee of San Francisco, who has made this possible today.
Everybody, thank you for being here in the great steps of our City Hall of San Francisco. That means something. Are you ready to dance? All right. Well, today at the 1 Billion Rising for Justice, Anita and I wanted to join all of you. And we wanted to join you and all of the people on the stage who I am personally very proud to work together with. From the supervisors to the DA to the PD to the treasurer and all of the elected office, we stand as one with all of you to end violence. We're doing what we can, but you know, when I look at these children, and today, Valentine's Day, pay a lot of special attention to children, don't you? Don't we all? And what I wanted to be able to say to them is that we as adults, we understand our efforts when we try to succeed in this endeavor. And we are somewhat proud that we went as a city for 44 months without an homicide. But it ended. Yes, that's something to be proud of. But as we look at our kids, they don't deserve 44 months. They deserve 44 years of no violence. Yeah. And so now that those 44 months have tragically ended with the latest, it simply says we have more work to do, and we will do that together. Recommitted to ending violence, not only in our city. We've got to join hands with people around the world. You know who's watching us? 200 other countries around the world are joining us today. Yeah. And so we've got to send the message to end violence in all forms, not only violence against women and children and girls. Violence at every level is unacceptable. Do more and make sure that coming out today, we're proud of our safe city, we're proud of our equitable city, but we also are proud that we have an agenda that we can share with each other and do a lot more. So are you all ready to take a pledge? Well, this is significant because this pledge means something. It means that we're not going to settle for 44 months. It means that we will do more and do what is necessary to end violence in all forms. Our city's working as hard as we can. We have programs. We've got people on the ground. We've got all the communications. We've got not only government, we've got the most incredible network of social services in our communities helping us. The whole network that we're lucky to have through the Commission on the Status of Women to work with us. And we trust each other to do better and to challenge ourselves to do better. So that's why we take this pledge. And that's why I'm proud to begin. So are you ready to take this pledge? Yeah. Then please repeat after me. I am one of the 1 billion rising. And I pledge that today, February 14th, 2014, I will rise for justice and make freedom for women and girls a priority of our time and help to end violence in my family, in my school, my workplace, my community, and in San Francisco, California. Thank you, everybody, for taking the pledge. Congratulations.
San Francisco, are we ready to rock? Yeah. Come on, I want to hear you. You know, people around the world are looking at us just now, and we want to make it loud and clear. This is no place where violence against women and young girls will be tolerated. Let's make that message very clear. You know, 1 out of 3 women in their lifetime will face either rape or a serious assault. That is completely unacceptable. And this is not only about women. Men have to step up to the plate too. We are sons, we are fathers, and many of us are husbands as well. We have a collective obligation to make sure that violence against women and young girls, not only in our community, but everywhere else, will stop. Today, we're going to raise the roof, and we're going to show the world what San Francisco stands for. Let's do it. Thank you, and let's be loud and clear.
San Francisco, we rising today? Are we rising for justice? Are we part of the 1 billion? I'm David Chu, and I'm honored to represent our San Francisco Board of Supervisors today in rising with our mayor and our district attorney and the incredible community of domestic violence advocates who are on the front line fighting for our women and children every single day. I want to thank you all for being part of our City of Love. In 1967, San Francisco started the Summer of Love. 10 years ago, on Valentine's Day, San Francisco started Love Again when we allowed LGBT couples to marry. And today, on Valentine's Day, we are saying once again that we are the city that knows how to love, and we know that real love does not involve violence against our women, our children, or our families. I want to take a moment and recognize someone whose spirit is among us. 14 years ago, the brutal murder of Claire Joyce Tempongo shocked our city to say no. Her soul, her spirit is with us today. And at that time in 2000, we had about a dozen domestic violence homicides a year. And we had gone 43 months without a homicide. Our work is not done. Last month, another woman died at the hands of her man. 1 out of 3. Look to your left. Look to your right. Someone in your line of sight has been a victim. But as we look out onto our horizon, remember that we share a dream. A dream that someday no woman, no child, and no family will have to worry about violence in San Francisco. And let me just close by saying that if you could see what we see here on the stage, you are a beautiful mosaic of San Francisco. And you represent 800,000 San Franciscans that are part of the 1 billion that is rising today. Thank you so much.
Hello, San Francisco. Oh, yeah, that's the San Francisco I know and love. We show up for justice when the bell rings. My name is Andrea Shorter, and I have the pleasure, the honor, and the privilege to serve as the Vice President of the San Francisco Commission on the Status of Women. And we're one of the organizations that is delighted to put together today's event. I'm also joined by my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Julie Su, Commissioner Mary Jung, and Commissioner Amy Ackerman. Give them a big round of applause. These are women that are just absolutely outstanding and really show the best of what our city has to offer. So, what does justice mean to me? Justice means that we all get to pursue happiness without the fear of violence. Would you agree? Here in San Francisco, the police department receives over 3,000 cases of domestic violence every year, as you have heard from our district attorney, our mayor, and our president of the Board of Supervisors. Any one of these cases could become a homicide. I am pleased to report that in close collaboration with District Attorney Gascon, Police Chief Sir, our Adult Probation Chief, Wendy Still, and other department heads, and the community-based providers that Beverly Upton and Kathy Black, Give them a round of applause. They are just absolutely terrific. They set an incredible standard, a national model, and just work tireless to make sure that we're all safe in San Francisco. Together, we maintained a record 44 months without a single domestic violence homicide. 44 months. 44 months. And as the mayor said, it is sad that while this record ended last month, we will continue to do everything possible to end gender violence here in San Francisco. And you're with us on that, right? So all of us, every single person that has shown up here today, and for those of you that are acting as ambassadors and emissaries and representatives of friends and colleagues and relatives that could not be with us today, we know that they stand with us to make sure that San Francisco is forever present to end gender violence. I want to thank our mayor, Ed Lee, for convening a mayor's task force on human trafficking, a major, there you go, an invisible problem here in our commercial districts and neighborhoods. Thank you, Mayor Lee. This is indeed something that we all are very, very thankful for. I'm also here to say that San Francisco will not tolerate modern-day slavery, whether it is child sex trafficking of our girls, our children, our monolingual immigrants, or whether it is labor trafficking in nail salons or restaurants. So thank you for being here, and join me and the Commission on the Status of Women to end gender violence in San Francisco. Thank you, San Francisco. We love you. Rise.
I am back. My name is Marilee Mondahar, and I am the CEO of the Filipino Women's Network. And I am here today because my board members who are just coming up have allowed me to be able to donate my time so today can happen. So I want to ask you to help me thank my board members, Sonia Dellen, Susie Casada, Giselle Robinson, Maya Escudero, Elena Mangajas. Today would not have happened without the help, as I've said, our city official, and many, many thanks to Mayor Ed Lee. And the First Lady of San Francisco, Anita Lee, who always makes a point to come and support us. But I want you to take a minute, just a minute, to look around you. And can you tell who has experienced violence? Can you tell who has been silenced, who has been shamed? Now, I want to ask you this question. Have you ever been affected by violence? Do you know of anyone who has been violated, raped, assaulted, mutilated? Do you know if this person has received justice? Well, today is about deepening the call to end violence. This is not just about raising awareness, but this is about seeking justice. Today is about rising for justice for your friend, for anyone who has not received justice because they have been silenced and they have been shamed. To be complete, survivors of violence have to feel they have received justice. So I ask you to rise, help them release the shame, release the silence, rise for justice, and dance. And people have asked me, why are we dancing? This is such a sad statistic. Because you know what? 1 billion rising is an amplification and an escalation of our demand for justice. For her, for him, for anyone who has been a victim of violence, all forms of violence. So dancing insists that we take up space, the way you were dancing earlier. It has no set direction. Many of you didn't know the steps like me, but we go there together anyway, and we dance. Dancing is dangerous, it is joyous, it is sexual, it is also holy and disruptive. It breaks the rules. So you can dance wherever you want to do, just go with the music. It can happen anywhere, like here in front of San Francisco City Hall. It can happen in your bathroom or in the parking lot. It can happen anywhere. But you know, it is happening here now, and you are here, and I thank you. And you know what? Dancing is free. You can dance anywhere. No corporation controls it. It joins us and pushes us to go further, and that is why we have Rising for Justice today. And it is contagious and it spreads quickly. So go dance to your car, go dance to Muni and Bart, because it is of the body, your body, and it is transcendent. So dance, 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 not now, wait for the music, and keep dancing. Because you know what? We have a great rapper who's gonna dance, who's gonna play music for you to dance, but really keep dancing until your friend gets justice. Thank you. I'm going to introduce the next speaker. An American author, a poet, a leading voice in queer culture, feminism, race, class, and prostitution. Here's the remarkable, the stunning Michelle Tea.
Thank you. Hi, feminists. This is so great. It's an honor to get to be here and to be asked to share what justice looks like to me with all of you justice-seeking people. My concerns are for women who are among the most targeted for violence in our culture, which is sex workers and transgendered women. I believe all women should have complete autonomy over our bodies. Justice to me looks like the decriminalization of prostitution. Whether a person enters the sex industry because she has a calling to do this work, or because she needs a job, or even if it's an act of desperate, blind survival, it's a woman's right to do it. And the rationale behind it remaining criminal reeks of sexism and misogyny. When men and women are recruited by the government to build military careers, careers that are built around war, it strikes me as particularly insane that our culture criminalizes careers built around sex. When prostitution is outlawed, the women and men who do this work have no legal recourse to demand safe working environments. The outlaw nature of the working conditions make prostitutes easy targets for violence, not only from their Johns and coworkers, but also from police, who do have very bad histories of abusing prostitutes as well. According to various studies, women working as prostitutes in the United States have more than 20 times the likelihood of being murdered as women who make their money elsewhere. And over half the prostitutes in another survey reported being raped on the job. This is a women's health issue, it's a labor issue, it's a feminist issue, and a civil rights issue. Justice to me also looks like the trans women in our communities being valued and supported. It's up to cisgendered people to educate ourselves on trans issues so you're not traumatizing trans people with invasive questions like Katie Quirk did. If you don't know what the term cisgendered means, you can start by looking that up on the internet. It basically means that if your native body matches up with the gender the culture expects you to have, if you're a man and you're into it, you're masculine, or you're a woman, you're into it, you're feminine, then you're cisgendered. For the millions of people who fall outside this category, the threat of violence is constant and real. Transgender women, in particular transgender women of color, have a 1 in 8 chance of being killed by violence. Their murders are not avenged, and when trans women fight back against violence, they are likely to be thrown in jail. Like Cece McDonald, who was just released from a men's facility last month after being there since 2011 for stabbing a man who attacked her. As I wrote this, another trans woman was being held in a men's prison in Canada for a passport glitch. If any other demographic of women were being thrown into men's prisons, there would be an outrage. I am outraged. I think we should all be outraged that there's a class of women in our culture so likely to be murdered. A class of women so likely to face job discrimination that taking up sex work is less of a choice than a necessity. a class of women so likely to be imprisoned with men when they fight back against their attackers. Trans women are dealing with an epidemic of violence that ranges from daily harassments to the threat and reality of physical violence. We must stand with the individuals and organizations that are fighting to demand justice for all trans and gender variant people. And I know you guys are all down with that. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for sharing all those stories. Are we ready to dance? Are we, Sylvia, ready to dance? Well, let's dance. We want to hear you out loud. To the count of 3, we're going to scream.